Sometimes the difference between a completed piece and something that languishes in a drawer for a long time is just a little bit of simple ingenuity. Today I have for you a great trick that uses just a few inches of wire and lets you turn most anything into a pair of post earrings. Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at keepsakecrafts.net. So here are a few polymer clay pieces that I pulled out of my incomplete boxes. These are just things that I experimented with. Maybe this one wouldn't be a great earring, but maybe it would. But they all are sitting in the drawer unloved and would potentially make some really cute earrings. Now you could just add a fishhook ear wire. Most of my earrings are that style, but it occurred to me that you could also take a polymer piece and make a post earring really quickly and easily. This is just a scrap of polymer clay that I was experimenting with PBO paints on. So to do this, all you need is a piece of wire. It's a good idea to straighten it. I have here a 5-inch piece. That'll be far more than I'm going to need. I just put nice shiny new jaws on my nylon jaw pliers. The other ones are getting pretty beat up. You want to definitely buy a bunch of replacement jaws when you get your pliers. Your nylon jaw pliers. First thing I'm going to do is cut just a straight end here, just so it's tidy. And take round nose pliers and form a spiral. The more round this starts with, the more round your spiral will be, but it doesn't have to be round. This one's kind of oval and a little wonky, and I sort of like that one too. You can start your spiral with your round nose pliers, but at some point you'll have to switch to chain nose or flat nose. You just bend the wire. You hold the center and bend the wire up against and around it. That. And go around until the spiral is as big as you want it to be. So if you wanted to make a different shape spiral, say a triangle, you would just form your wire in the center. Instead of making a loop, you would make 3 little bends, or 2 little bends, and that would make a triangle. Okay, that's a good size. One thing you can do to harden this and also give it a different look is to do a little bit of hammering. So I just have a sandbag that helps reduce the noise and the bounce, in a bench block and a chasing hammer, which you can see I've actually sanded and polished a little bit. See how that flattened right down because it was a little springy. And it just looks a bit different now. So it really depends on the look you like. So wherever you want the bottom of the earring to be, so the bottom of the spiral, go ahead and grab that wire. Flat nose pliers are great here. You want to make a nice, ooh, that's hard. That was really hardened. I could feel that as opposed to bending it before it was hammered. But it's doable. And you know that it's going to hold its shape. Make a nice crisp bend here. Now it depends on what you have for a piece. Something thick like this, you're going to need to make a deeper bend than if you're just hanging something like this with a loop. So pop that in and get an idea. I didn't bring a Sharpie with me, but you could make a Sharpie mark right there so you know right where to make your bend. Now this one I actually just bent up around the polymer clay piece because the wire was soft enough and the piece was firm enough that I wasn't afraid of damaging it. But where I've hardened this wire, I don't want to do that. I'm afraid it might crack my polymer clay piece. So I'm going to put my chain nose pliers there, bend this up, and there's the channel for your piece to sit. Pretty good eyeballing. And I'll picture it as the post of the earring is coming out the center of the spiral. It's positioned right at the same point as the center of the spiral. You don't have to be, it can be anywhere you want it to be, but in my mind that's just what looks good. So bend that back. And trim it to the length of a post earring. This is nice because you can customize it to whatever length. That might be a little short. This is a cup burr. It's got little tiny diamonds in there, and it will help smooth and round that over. If you don't have one of these, you can just use a file, but this is going into somebody's ear. I think I cut this too short. I don't think this is going into anybody's ear, but you get the idea that you want to just round that over. And then that's all there is to it. What's nice about this is that if your hole is big enough and your piece is the right configuration, you can just pop it out and interchange it, make them interchangeable with other pieces. So you could have one pair of stud earrings that you dangle all sorts of things from. Now this is some sterling silver filled half hard wire. So let's see if I can do the little triangle I was telling you about, just because it's kind of cute. I'm just going to trim my end so it's neat. And pick a point on my pliers that I want the length of each triangle leg to be. So there's one bend, and two bends, and that's what I meant, two bends, and you have a triangle. Hold that again, bend it up against itself. And then at this point you probably want to grab your flat nose and carry on the same way. And you can do that for any shape that you want. Obviously, if you're trying to do like a hexagon or something, that probably won't read well, just because you have these soft bends on the corners. You can see the further out I get, the less distinct this is as a triangle. But that's kind of interesting. Let's see, where did I start? Do one more. There. Just going to give that a couple taps to flatten it down. And remember, if you want to harden it but you don't want to flatten it, don't use a metal hammer, use a rawhide or a nylon mallet. That will harden it without flattening. And then from here on it's the same deal, although since I have a triangle, I'm going to try to bend this back kind of centered at the bottom of my triangle. That's pretty good. Let's see, oh, how about a cookie? And this little fish. This is just from a push mold. I forget, I think it was ages ago. I think the cookie is cute. So then, because this is on a loop, I don't really have to worry about the depth, just a little tiny bit of depth. So I'm just going to pop just the tips of my chain nose pliers in there to bend that up. Like that. I like using the flat nose for something like this because I feel like it gives me a more crisp bend, except those are too big. And then, yeah, now I can see that's lined up right with the center of the spiral. Kind of make those parallel. You can take a look at a pair of earrings, post earrings, to see just how long you want to cut them, and of course you can customize them. I'm going to make sure that one's not too short. And then again, very important, especially if you're selling these, that you make sure this end is very nice and smooth. Pop my cookie on. And oh my goodness, that is a cute earring. And that's all there is to it. So if you enjoy my tutorials and you'd like to get more, keep in mind that my patrons can get up to 2 bonus tutorials each month. You can check out patreon.com/SandySewen for details. And if you're interested in the tools and supplies I used, you can click on the eye in the upper right or the link in the lower left or in the description box to go to my blog post. At my blog post, I always have a complete supply list and links to materials and usually more information for you. So I hope this has given you some ideas for how you can take pieces out of the drawer, drill a hole in them, or add a loop and turn them into a piece of jewelry that you can wear. I upload tutorials twice a week, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss a thing. Happy creating. Bye-bye.